Hi, I'm Mike Zaida, and today's IEEE computer column is entitled Massive Machines, More Compute, More AI, More Power, More Water, Less Environment. This is the 12th of June, 2025, and I am going to share with you the slides. Slides, bring them up, share sound, and let's see, here we go. All right, we also want to do play. There we are. Great. Okay, massive machines, more compute, more AI, more power, more water, less environment. And here's the sort of the abstract of this talk today. Amazingly large AI computation capable massive machines are being dug into large swaths of unused and empty, closed factories, shopping centers, sand dunes, or just plain plots of dirt near the town refuse facility. In this talk today, we're going to discuss some of those massive machines as proposed or under construction in order to understand the size, the cost, and power requirements, as well as some of the potential environmental concerns. So, a long time ago, in an era far, far away, we just built mainframe computers until we didn't much. Up until recently, mainframe computers seemed like a thing of the past, much from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, something your father or grandfather might have slipped a punch card or two into for some government or corporate project or university project, long unremembered in the 21st century. The popularity of smaller machines, mini computers, and the arrival of their replacement by personal computers and now mobile and tablet format devices can be carried everywhere, even to the toilet, basically pushed out of our minds the fact that massive machines once ruled the world. But as the cinema has always told us, King Kong always returns. Okay, this is a 1964 mini computer. This is the IBM 1800, and I think it had something like 18,000 18-bit words. It was really strange, and you had to type everything up in punch cards. And the disk drives that are in that machine on the left, they held about 10 megabytes per platter. So you see three windows there. Very small compute capability. This is the IBM 360, also 1964. 8K to 9 megabytes of core memory. All right. You wouldn't be happy with that today. Your iPhone's got to have 3 gigabytes of memory. So these were mainframe computers back in the 60s. And this time, the massive machines that are coming have people concerned, maybe even a little bit afraid that those machines will take over all of our jobs and maybe even have the capabilities to take over and relegate mankind to a lesser role on this blue marble of a planet, similar to that found by the time traveler in H.G. Wells' prescient tome entitled The Time Machine. And if you want to know more about that, you should read this book. It's available on Audible. It's really short, 4 hours maybe. So these are, I'm not going to cover comprehensively all massive machines that are being built, but I'm going to start out with this group here. This is the CoreWeave. It's got 250,000 NVIDIA GPUs. It's got planned 220 megawatts of power. And this is for a place in the United States. And it's a scaling globally, means they tend to build similar facilities throughout the world. You've got Oracle Cloud Indonesia is estimating 250,000 GPUs, 260 megawatts of power, and Oracle Cloud is also going to scale globally, but they're starting in Indonesia, which I think is extremely interesting. I guess they're going to go for the Southeast Asia AI customers. The Stargate Megafactory, which is being built, led by OpenAI, but Oracle and SoftBank are also helping fund, is starting at 200 megawatts of power, scaling to 1.2 gigawatts of power in Abilene, Texas. 400,000 AI chips. They're spending $500 billion on this. The contractor is Caruso. I don't know if that's important. XAI, Colossus, 200,000 to 1 million GPUs, 150 megawatts to start in Memphis, Tennessee. The United Arab Emirates, Stargate project in Abu Dhabi is 500,000 high-end GPUs per year. It's going to have 1 to 5 gigawatts of power support. That's a lot of GPUs buying per year. Not sure if NVIDIA and TSMC can produce that many. We'll see. Humane, Saudi Arabia, 18,000 chips now. They're going to grow to several hundred thousand NVIDIA GB300 Blackwell chips. They're calling it AI factories, 500 megawatts of power. And NVIDIA is now in the AI data center business, as you can see. So that's figure one. See if there's anything here. Yeah, I think here's some pictures. Here's CoreWeave. Again, it just looks like racks in just about any AI data center in the world. They all kind of look the same. Here's the Oracle Indonesia effort. OpenAI. Oh yeah, the Stargate Megafactory is initially planned to have 400,000 GPUs, and they estimate they're planning to grow to probably 2 million GPUs with that 1.2 gigawatts of power that they're building out. All right, here's Stargate. This is a view out of a Crusoe document. The contractor that is building this. It is a massive piece of dirt, red dirt, that is being turned into a massive AI compute facility. Here is the XAI Colossus facility in Memphis, Tennessee. It's again, a very big picture, and you can see all of the generators that are kind of hanging off in the bottom of it. United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia's humane efforts. These are big, big projects. This is the concept art, I think, of the UAE Stargate project, United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia's, investment fund is creating this new company called Humane, not M on the end, like this. NVIDIA has so many placed and promised orders that they've gone into the AI data center development business themselves to make sure all of this complex hardware is installed correctly. And I think that's wise of them. They can't just put out a bunch of chips and say, here's a bag of chips, go build what you want. All right, here's another picture that's got some information we're going to talk about. I'm going to start out, significant AI data centers. We've gone over that, but what I'm going to do is talk about some of the details, like Stargate, Megafactory, and AI Colossus and Humane a little bit. So OpenAI Stargate in Abilene, they're calling it the Mega Factory. I'm calling all of these things massive machines because things that are connected together that have to go over that many big warehouse type buildings, it's a massive machine. And probably one of the most interesting things is that $500 billion is being spent on this massive machine in a large parcel of available land in Abilene, Texas. And there's a wonderful video on this facility in the references, reference one. This is kind of nice to know. The city of Abilene has forgiven the Stargate project 85% of its property tax. And what does this mean? We assume that if you spend $500 billion on building something that will be taxed, is the $500 billion valuation. Often people call assessed valuation. So we're saying, well, 500 billion, it's worth that much. That's how much they're spending to build it. And that should be the assessment. And in Abilene, the property tax rate is for 2024, 2025 is basically, 76 cents per $100 of assessed property value. And this rate includes maintenance, operations, and debt service. And that means that we divide 500 billion by 100 to get 5 billion. And we multiply 5 billion by 0.7607, we get 3.8 billion. And then we'll multiply that 3.8 billion by 0.15 to get 15%. And the annual property tax to be paid to the city of Abilene is $570,525,000. And this assumes the assessed value again is 500 billion. A lot of times they say, oh, it's less than that because blah, blah, blah. But we're assuming 500 billion is what's being invested. That's what they should be assessing. For a city the size of Abilene to receive 571 million every year for the foreseeable future, this is a wonderful deal. The operating budget for the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year for the city of Abilene is $329 million. So all of a sudden, they're going to have $829 million. Of course, you don't expect them to cut taxes there. We basically, once that city's got $800 million, they're going to make things look really nice. There's going to be the best roads, the best power system, the best everything, hopefully, the best swimming pools. So jobs, jobs, jobs. One of the things city managers always tout with such projects is that they will bring in new positions, new jobs for the community. And with respect to Abilene, there are 2,200 contractors building Stargate, and those jobs go away once Stargate is completed. Some percentage will be around for maintenance, but the big tractors that are digging holes and pulling wires and cables, those are going to go away once it's all done. And if we consider the requirement for operators of such a facility, we estimate that about 200 to 300 skilled engineers and AI developers will be all that is required. And when we look at skilled engineers, this is bachelor's and master's or PhD people with degrees in electrical engineering, computer science, maybe even some mechanical engineering as well. It's not a whole lot of new jobs. So if you thought, we're getting this $500 billion investment, it's going to create 500 million jobs. It's not a whole lot of jobs. Important to know that. Power. Stargate Abilene massive machine is going to require 200 megawatts to 1.2 gigawatts of power over time. And what is 1.2 gigawatts of power? I was trying to figure out, well, I'll compare it to a local power plant. 1.2 gigawatts of power is about the power generation capacity of the Moss Landing power station at Moss Landing, California, which serves about 1.5 million people. It's not just the city of Monterey and Carmel. It's the city of Monterey and Carmel and Santa Cruz, and it goes all the way up to Silicon Valley. And Abilene has a population of 129,000 people. So the real question becomes, does Abilene have enough power that it can spare to run the Stargate facility? And we have all seen the news articles over time that Texas has got their own power grid. They don't share with any other state. And you see that power grid fail a lot when there is, tornadoes or when it's too hot and everyone's got the air conditioning running. So I don't know if this is a good place to build this Stargate facility. Maybe they know something I don't know. Stargate is a global effort. OpenAI and partners plan to build 10 Stargate centers worldwide. So 10 times 500 billion is what? $5 trillion. Assuming they're all the same size. $5 trillion is a huge amount of money. 16 states are being considered for additional Stargate centers, as well as potential global locations such as Japan, South Korea, India, Australia, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates is already announced. So it's already happening. Okay. xAI's Memphis Colossus. Now, as stated before, xAI's Memphis massive machine Colossus, I guess saying massive machine in Colossus is redundant, is planned to grow from 200,000 GPUs to 1 million GPUs with a power requirement from 150 megawatts to 1 gigawatt. I don't think 1 gigawatt's enough to power a million GPUs, but we'll see. Colossus is named after a 1970 film entitled Colossus the Foreman Project, which is the Colossus is an advanced supercomputer built to control the United States and allied nuclear weapons systems. And of course, you can see, I took a picture of the poster of the movie and it says obey or die, I guess, at the top. It's an amazingly foreboding name for a massive machine. I think I would have chosen something different. In xAI's haste to get this project online before power could be provided by the local power company, Colossus is powered using something like 35 to 39 unpermitted methane gas-burning turbines, which are in these boxes over here in the picture. The noise and air pollution have engendered enmity from the plant's neighbors, and you can see the YouTube video I cite there, reference to, as it talks about that in more detail. xAI promises to connect to Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, MLGW, if and when MGLW pulls the power infrastructure to Colossus so they can plug in. And that's always the problem, right? Is you build this brand new thing, and I think they took over an old vacuum cleaner manufacturing plant. They thought there's going to be plenty of power there, but maybe not enough power. So they had to put in some generators. And MLGW gets its electricity from the Tennessee Valley Authority. I've all heard about that, which generates its power from hydroelectric dams, nuclear plants, natural gas, and coal-fired plants. And TVA says the mix is 60% carbon-free and 40% carbon-rich, right? Okay. Humane, Saudi Arabia. Humane is the Saudi Arabia massive machine project and plans to deploy several 100,000 NVIDIA GB300 Blackwell chips or their successors. And it is talking about 500 megawatts of power. Now, Saudi Arabia is experienced in building air-conditioned spaces and needs to do so due to the weather extremes there. 90% of the electricity is generated using natural gas and oil, all of which are locally sourced. I like that locally sourced notion. The amount of funding Saudi Arabia is spending for this effort is unknown. The carbon footprint of this project is quite large, since 90% of it is natural gas and oil. We hope that Saudi Arabia is more successful with this effort than the struggling NEOM project. Here's a summary of the NEOM project from ChatGPT on the 9th of June 2025. The NEOM project concludes its ambitious city called The Line has experienced some delays and budget adjustments. Originally, it was planned to be completed by 2030, but now estimates suggest it could take up to 50 years to fully finish NEOM, so it's definitely running behind schedule. Yeah, most definitely. God, if you look at NEOM, NEOM's huge. NEOM's got Trojana, which is a ski resort up in the mountains of Saudi Arabia, which we would think is way too hot to have skiing, but I guess not. Oxagon is a floating city, which has some of the universities, some of other things. There is a giant place, which is a resort on the ocean that is for people who arrive on yachts. This is quite a big deal. So 50 years, though, is a long time to finish a project. Oh, massive machines introspection. The purpose of this column was, in this talk, was to talk about the size of the massive machines being proposed or under development. And I haven't covered all of the ones that are being built there out in the world. I didn't say anything about U.S. government efforts to build things inside of the defense and security apparatuses inside of our federal government. These are huge and expensive efforts, all of which also require large, high-speed internet connectivity. So you can't just build XAI out in the middle of nowhere unless there's a really big pipe of internet, a really big pipe of power, lots of cooling, and very few employees operate these big things. They're just, you put them up and you get them running and you have people mostly watching to make sure the machines don't melt down, the air conditioner is working, and there's no holes in the roof when it's raining, right? After working through this, I can't help think that something smaller hardware-wise will eventually be created to replace these massive machines, just as mobile computing desktops and laptops have replaced legacy mainframes. But we will see. I think maybe Apple Computer might be the closest on this with trying to fit AI into their phones and iPads. Anyway, we will see. Here are some of the references. One is inside OpenAI's Stargate Megafactory with Sam Altman, which is a Bloomberg original on YouTube channel. I have the link here. Here's one. The title is a bit crazy. We went to the town Elon Musk is poisoning, which is talking, it's also on YouTube. It's talking about the generators that have been turned on. And there's people who live right there. And I believe they also live quite close to the town refuse facility. So they're complaining about the air pollution from Elon Musk's effort and probably a little bit of refuse facility as well. Colossus, the Forbin Project. It's on Wikipedia. You can go read about it, but maybe go watch the movie if you want some fun. And all the values for the number of chips produced, the amount of power required to retrieve by way of ChatGPT on the 9th of June, 2025. And H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. It's an 1895 book. It's a quite cute book. I think Scott Brick reads it on Audible. And if you are interested in what I'm referencing when I talk about, some distant future where the time traveler went, which was like something like 800,000 AD up in the future, all of the people have been replaced. Anyway, they're no longer having to work. They just live this life of leisure, as we all, of course, will when all these big, massive machines are deployed and up and running and doing everything for us, plus the robots. Don't forget the robots. I wish to thank those of you who have gotten to the end of this talk without finding all of the deliberate and accidental errors. There may be some, and I apologize for my personal commentaries, but I think they're very important for our futures. They're there to make us all think about this massive machine future, and is it really the right thing? We will see. Anyway, if you need to contact me, here's my email, here's my website. When the paper is actually in PDF form, I'll put it up on the website. Right now, the draft version is up there. This YouTube link will be linked from there as well. Anyway, have a great day. This has been the games column, which is a little bit off of the topic, but what I'll do is say glad to present this to you, and you guys have a wonderful life, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.